She says, Daima Mimi Mkenya is a song that really made us proud to be Kenyan. We salute you as a Kenyan icon and an amazing musician. God bless. Matunda.
Thank you. God bless you.
Kuna mrembo fulani anaitwa Ambo ametoka Dandora anauliza Eric
mbona na whisper
si kwa sababu ni mrembo
ni mrembo you're trying to be soft
basi tuongee kasi hizi Eriko kuna mrembo anaulizaje are you sure you are the first one who made the national anthem ama hayuko sure kwa sababu anasema wimbo yako ndio inafaa kukua actually kulingana vile ameandika constitution inafaa kuchangiwa wimbo wako ikuwa national anthem. Sasa sijui hapo ndasemaje juu unajua Rigiji tunaweza bongana yetu juu ni aje. Anaweza tolea machungu hiyo topic.
Speaking of the national anthem, I saw someone talking about the translation of our national anthem. Like Mungu nguvu yetu, does it translate to O God of all creation?
I don't think so.
That's why we are saying Eric ngori kwako.
His translation was on point.
No. Anthem daima. As in like, you know what I'm saying? As in like, there's songs that the national songs and there's songs that people, there's, no.
National anthem yetu ile niko na mzungu. Eriko, wewe ni Mwafrika, wewe ni Mkenya 100%.
But kulikuwa na wase wengine walihusika. No, Kibukosi alikuwa hapo.
There you go.
George Zake alikuwa hapo. There are at least 3 Africans.
Now that we did. That we did not know. Hold on.
Eriko, nasemaje?
First of all,
people love your song more than national anthem. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But he's also attributing it.
I'm saying you can love both.
Yes, you can love both. Yes.
Don't forget.
But I didn't know that all these other artists who came together to make it happen as well.
Yeah, but don't forget there's a national anthem. There's actually the national anthem, and there's the East African anthem.
And then there is the Eric Winena anthem.
Yes. The East African one is South African.
First of all, I used to people calling you by all your names, Eric Winena.
I don't know, man. I guess there are a lot of Erics and a lot of Wainaina so put together, you know.
It has to be Eric
Winena. Then there's Eriko.
Hey, I like that one.
Okay, Eriko.
So, but just to be clear, so there is a guy called George Zake, right?
I like
and Kibukosi. I don't know. I apologize for forgetting the no. Sasa, Suzanne's former husband Guido. Yeah, Guido's father.
Hebu mwaga history hapa kwanza. Ngoja kidogo.
Acha malize.
Acha malize Einstein. Acha malize.
I think by the way anaitwa Peter Kibukosia.
Okay. Topic ati Baba Guido.
I think it's called Peter Kibukosia. A guy called George Zake. Now this is Hislop ambaye umesema mzungu, right? They got together and wrote the Kenyan anthem.
Alipigwa hiyo deal.
Yes, but then also Pia, it's a Giriama melody,
right?
So the only white thing about it is Hislop. Otherwise, everything else about that thing is akutoa do. That's what I meant, Pokomo, not Giriama. My apologies. Yeah,
right.
So it's Kenyan through and through.
Oh,
it's Kenyan through and through.
Now that you see, that history I didn't know.
Kibukosia mwenye.
So they are very important.
History
of music
ya Kenya. Of course.
And that's why even baka family ko bado kwa biashara ya muziki.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why is that not in our history?
Even Camp Mulla is a direct descendant of.
Right.
Because
that was Samati Studios, eh?
Yeah.
They ran.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
And people also forget about Zanaziki.
How can we forget?
A lot of people forget about them.
Take your girl child to school. How can we forget? Hey.
Jambriambo.
Well, massive throwbacks right there.
Wait, can I say something? There is somebody. What I would like to say, there is somebody anataka kutupisha mbao with the history of Kenya. Umesikia kile Eriko ametuambia? I didn't know that.
Hata nikiwa na
Suzanne. Now you've learned.
I have learned why people never floss.
Let me tell you let me tell you the full list. Let me tell you the full list of all the people who composed the national anthem. Professor Washington Omondi. Yes. Reverend Thomas Kalume. Graham Hislop. Mr. Peter Kibukosia. And George Senoga Zake.
Eish, man. Nice
That's
history.
it. That's
there.
it. For all who are listening, that's a history for you.
Hey.
You can't run away from Kenyan history. That's history.
That's history for you.
No,
Like the history that Eric was telling
inamaanisha
at
icon.
Luanda, a ghetto story. There we go.
Give me a second tujisifu. Icon Radio ndio wenye wanashikilia historia yote ya Kenya na wanaileta kulingana vile inafaa. Mzee mzima sikujua kina Suzan walikuwa they are responsible with a lot of stuff.
The Kibukosia family, yeah.
And they are still doing music out of generational stuff.
Yeah, it's still there, man. Marcus is still playing, and I mean, we all know Karun.
Right.
Karun was part of Camp Mula, and it's
Right.
like it's all there.
dynasty.
Guess what,
Yeah.
Eric? Everybody around kwa industry chini ya moja wanasema Karun ndio kusema kuja ni muziki. Na sasa ndio nimeelewa mbona yeye ndio kusema kwa sababu kumbe iko ndani yake. Lazimishi.
Though I heard something, Eric, you can tell me. I heard that Nikita was your student.
Nikita was my student, but she's really so good, I don't think she learnt anything.
I like that. I like those props. I like those
Just
props.
pass through.
I mean, Nikita's great, man.
She's
Nikita's
amazing.
fantastic, you know.
She's amazing.
But I just wanted to, since we're talking about history, I just want to also mention something. And
Yeah.
it's not so historical. It's actually very contemporary.
Yeah.
About a month ago, 2 months ago, I was up in Kakuma, the refugee camp.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you know, but there's 14 different nations that have come together, sort of refugees that are in Kakuma.
Okay.
And this guy, this organization called Kakuma Sounds was bringing together all of these different nations to create this concert.
Okay.
So they had sort of drum tutors from Burundi, from Rwanda, and from DRC.
Oh
Because
wow.
those are three of the countries that are represented. So there's South Sudan, there's people from TZ, there's
Right.
Ethiopia, etc., etc., etc.
Right.
So I went to see their rehearsal,
Mhm.
right? And I tell you, Myra, I tell you guys, right?
Mhm.
When you hear those drums play,
Mhm.
you understand why it was so important, right?
Right.
That the colonialists removed those drums, right?
Okay.
Because when you hear them,
Right.
you are there like, if this was being played on the streets today,
Right.
we would be like the freest, the most far-thinking, we would take over the damn planet.
Wow.
That stuff is ruthless.
To be a
It
fly
is
on the wall.
ruthless.
To
You know
be
what I'm
a
saying?
fly.
When I was bigger, you're there like, you feel something.
Was it documented?
Yeah, we have it all. There's even a documentary being made. I even have stuff. I posted it. I'll post it again.
Please
You know,
do.
it's epic. It's epic stuff. Did you remember? Did you watch the halftime show? The Super Bowl, when it was West Coast guys, Akina
Snoop and them.
Dre, and Snoop, and then
Right.
Kendrick, right?
Yeah.
Did you that kanini kirende of black guys and black women? You're there like you felt something.
Exactly.
You know? You felt if you didn't know what it was, you'd actually feel fear,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I tell you, man, when those guys in Kakuma, when they play those damn drums and they sing, you're just there like, man, there's something here, and you understand why an opponent would want to get rid of that thing.
Yes.
Because if that thing is there, we're just too powerful.
The war cry was real.
And speaking of
I'm not even playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
and speaking of the Burundi drums, they're actually going back to use it as therapy. Even I think it's Rwanda.
Yeah.
They're using their music as therapy for survivors of the genocide.
Oh wow.
Because the Western psychological way of doing things with therapy wasn't working.
Right.
So they're using the drums as a means of therapy for their people.
But
You know,
So
I
it speaks of
actually like.
the
But you
power
know
of the
the Burundi
drums.
guys, they shocked me when they came to Kenya. Like
Yeah.
when they came,
Yeah.
man, the way they were balancing those drums on their heads.
Ah.
I was just
Can
like,
I
how?
can I mention somebody?
before even you
Wait.
mention- before you-
Wacha nikukate. No, ladies come. No, ladies first, men before.
Sasa.
Wacha Maira
Just go
aseme,
ahead,
wacha
go ahead.
Maira aseme.
Hawezi pita kwa
No, go ahead,
kona na
go
kuna
ahead.
mwizi ako hapa kwa kona,
No,
alafu
it's
naambia ladies first.
No.
Atanyongwa, wewe ndo utapiga nduru.
Okay, where's the Einstein?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Msibishana mimi. Okay. Wewe.
Juu umevaa miwani leo ni sawa tu.
Hata hujasema ni
You're
glassless.
trying to know
Ni
the intellectual.
glassless.
Einstein ni sawa tu.
Well.
Endelea.
You know Geduku. Geduku, do you know how he used to campaign? Geduku alileta watu wa Rwanda wanapiga drums.
Mhm.
Session yake ilikuwa totally different. he used to bring dramas. Okay, yeye alibiwa kura kwa sababu ilikuwa UDA. Gedhuku the one. Ndungi. Jumie mpaka alikuwa anamsaidia kampeni zake juu tuna live. Okay, watu hii ni mtu yote nafikiria ati kunigeuzia kwa rap, hiyo ni yake. Nilihama Dandora nishika bete, so usianze kujaribu kunimulika.
Doesn't mean you're not from there, you just moved.
No, me nachukua rent Dandora, so mtu asiniambie kitu yote. Yani unajua kuna maojo atasema amemove tumnyonge. Don't get it twisted.
That's like your whole biography, say.
Niko naongea kuhusu Gedhuku, sijui story mbona imekuja kwangu na Dandora. So Gedhuku mngejuaje nisipoongea. So inaitwa kujiuza. So mzee Gedhuku tukiwa kwa campaign zake, he used to tell friends niaje come through, ukiona gari come. He was 0 everything was 0. Eriko come, mzee mzima come, Maira come. So tunakama na magari, so tuko entourage, so tunaenda ma places nini tukifanya. Mama Gedhuku aliorganize watu wa from Rwanda na the drum beat walikuwa wanacheza nayo. It made Gedhuku become number 2. No, I believe Gedhuku was number 1, but because everybody was like UDA. So tungekuwa kwa ile conscious yetu, Gedhuku angekuwa on point, but Gedhuku became number 2. I think alikuwa maybe 1 point kama so. Peke yake, kura so. Na ilikuwa inajulikana maybe but I think yeye alisema unajua ni Gedhuku, so he was like yeah. Next time. I made a point. Gedhuku a gentleman. But the Rwanda guys, drums out, they made people who never ever seen people doing drums be like walikuwa bamboozled, ama walikuwa zone zingine totally different. So unajua au majamaa wakianza kucheza hizo vitu, like everybody was like silent listening, nobody was moving, mpaka watasema okay we are going to the next song. Hapo ndio utaona notice watu like okay sasa wame wake up from that zone.
I really love the sounds that are coming out of Kenya right now. Eddie Gray did something with Turkana just the other day. I don't know if you saw that.
I've seen it. Yeah. That's Jackie Lebo's project.
You're transported literally. Even if you are, and again, fly on the wall. I wish I was there when it was being recorded, because even the imagery that came out of that place was absolutely amazing, and it put Kenya on another scale altogether. I don't know how popular it became, but I got to see it.
There's still time. It's up on YouTube, and it just keeps. Now you mentioned it on your show. It's gonna get a couple of other 1,000 views.
Right.
Just because you said it, Myra.
You
have got the voice. Let's do it. Myra says it must be good.
There we go.
You know,
certified, baby. So yes, as in there's a lot of sounds that are coming out of Kenya that it's not hitting mainstream as such, but are doing so well. Like even Winyo, when he came out with the song with Suraj.
You guy!
There we go.
You guy!
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? So first, okay, so let me tell you. So
yes.
I'm the patron of this table tennis club, right?
Okay.
Most of the kids come from St. Teresa's, yeah? Madari, right?
Wow.
So, you know the way everyone thinks, okay, so kids from Eastlands are only going to be listening to one type of music, right?
Yes.
This kid, right, and she plays for Kenya, right? Her name is Jenny Compel. We call her Shish.
Okay.
Right? So one day we're out there, we're training, we're like, what do you want to play?
Right.
She takes out Winyo and Suraj. Oh, gosh. Right?
Wait.
And I was like, I've never heard this stuff before.
Yeah.
Manze, have you just heard a record?
It's
please. It's a 4-song EP. Yeah.
Yes.
Kuna ngoma ingine, I think it's number 3. Night.
It's transportation. Fire. Literal
fire.
Now, if you loved Winyo on the project with Kama and Kitusua, Angalia Sa, then you have not had Winyo in his element. Yeah, he's been here. Me, I've been shy to walk up to him. I'm just like, oh my God, I see you everywhere. I just don't know how to tell you hi.
Actually, musema hivi,
yes,
musema hivi, Kenya kuna problem. If Winyo has never hit na Julikani, we only know him underground. There is something wrong with Kenya.
But that's the narrative we're trying to change now.
Yeah,
that's the narrative.
It is.
That's not
That's
good.
the narrative, because the music that is out
Do you
there
know,
is ridiculous.
Can I say something
You know
about
the
you,
funny
Angalia
thing-
Sa?
The funny thing before Jirongi says something.
Yep.
We had talked about this on Icon, about artists and about bringing cultural music
Right.
into the music. And some guys were hating on us about the cultural music. There's people who were hating.
Who
they
are
were like,
they?
they were
And
like,
who are
I
their
need to
mothers?
trace them. I need to trace them.
I remember even me and Mike were talking about we love the Kamba music that's coming out, the Luo, the Luya.
Trap,
we started talking about, and guys were hating. They were like, what are you talking about? You and Ujinga. They actually called us, you know the funny thing, let me tell you what they called us. When we said that, they called us tribalist. Like we're being tribalistic.
Wait, ngoja unani confuse. So si tulifanya show hapa watu wakatuita matribalist.
Imagine.
Because we
ngoja kidogo, I need to comprehend this. So tulifanya show hapa watu wakatuita matribalist.
Because we were playing music from across Kenya.
Will call you racist because they are racist and they don't know how to unracist themselves.
Hey, G. Einstein. Hey.
No. Jimmy. Usitaje kabla yako, ni kabla gani? Maira wewe ni kabla gani? Wewe ni kabla. So why should somebody call us?
Mini 0.6 maze.
We are cocktails over here. As in, there's no even mentioning
Hallelujah, Wakamba, Ugandan, Wajaka. We are all mixed in one family.
Yeah, I love plus usahau Madaka Lovely, bro. What the
I gotta mention one more artist that I got into last year. I gotta wait, hold on, G. I have to mention one more artist I got into last year and Jimmy, moving around with Mighty Black. Hold on.
Mtiona kiongea shit kutuhusu na fakutuambia
kwa sababu
no bro. Hakuna mtu anaweza kuongea kitu yote alafu anatuita sisi na ukabili.
No, listen. G, the only thing is that they are listening.
No, sinataka ajue.
No, even if they're hating, they're listening.
No, they are not hating.
They have to have something to hate on. So they're listening. My buddies that they're listening. But there's one artist I have to put you guys on, also called Lemarti, and he's Masai. And he is so big, he is making millions, literally millions, out of performing for dignitaries who come from across the world. But nobody knows him in the mainstream. But he's huge out there and he's putting Masai music on the map.
You know who else is putting music on the map? One of my boys, all of our friend here, is putting music, Jirongi's friend also, and that's Macadam.
Yeah. When I saw Macadam in Ibiza, I was like, it's over.
He said, I don't care about anything, whatever people say.
And
but
he
guess what? That's the only person, what's on a P. Diddy? The only person who ever changed his name and made money. Macadam.
Them is a rapper.
And the other day he was in the streets of Spain and he was together with I think his name was Dennis for Unasi. That guy disappeared, but all of a sudden he's back because Macadam was doing his thing with him in the streets. Amazing, guys.
Nice.
Yes, so before we go too far, I'd like to get back
Dennis
into now.
of Unasi?
Yes.
Mwingine huyu akona studio anaitangwa nani, sorry.
Ngala
did a whole project. Did a whole project on African sounds, huh?
Yeah, Ngala is.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Ngala cheesy na music.
Nice.
I'm gonna play one of his songs. I have one of his songs.
Nice.
Ngala ni mdogo.
Giopogore if you're going to look for anything. But anyway.
Cheesy wake mwingine alikuwa anaitwa nani, walikuwa wanne?
I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember the rest of the names.
But kuna cheesy wangu mwingine kuna Saimo.
Yeah.
Kulikuwa na Saimo, kulikuwa mwingine anaitwa ni Bernard ama anaitwa nani?
Okay. We'll try and look up the names during the break. But yes, now before we get to that, we again are going to look at the scope of your career. I'm just you actually have a Wikipedia page, like literally. Do you have a Wikipedia page?
All of us do.
Levels. Maybe I don't. Anyway, so yes, I was looking at your Wikipedia page.
My page is weak.
Your page is weak, but at least you have one.
PDM.
Page yako nika dunia wiki hii. Yeah?
I don't have a Wikipedia. I have a Dunia Wiki page.
So we got to know about
Eric
Wainaina from the days of Five Alive.
That was a crew.
Let me tell you, that was a crew. That was a really big crew.
Do you know who were the members of Five Alive?
There was Bob Kyoko, right?
There was Joe.
There was Victor Say. There was
Chris
Joe.
Kamau.
There's Chris Kamau. And guys are still, they're all doing things in their own right.
I think
like Chris Kamau is still in the theater scene. He's very much in the theater and movie and series. He was on Country Queen just the other day.
He was.
And he was a great arranger.
Wait, Mzee Sei.
Sei was the arranger.
Yeah.
Mzee mzima.
Yeah.
But si tulikuwa namkuta samawati sana. Juu alikuwa so much. Mzee, can I say something actually?
Hold on, I'm still talking about what they're doing.
juu
So
niko na story ya hii jeshi yangu
we
ambayo
have
ni
we
dope
have
sana.
we have also, I don't know what Bob Kyoko is doing right now.
Real estate. Bob is a real estate.
Oh, he's in real estate.
What?
And
Alitoka Nation Day.
oh, nice. And shook him up with Sammy.
Magnet.
And then who else? Joe is doing massive things with photography around the country as well.
Yes, he's also gone into politics.
It's going to politics,
But more on the policy side. I think he was behind a lot of the stuff that was happening in Kilifi.
Oh, really?
What happened to Chris Kamau?
Chris is acting. He's acting as we speak. He's probably on set somewhere.
Yes, he's probably as that. He's doing a lot.
Yeah, Chris is always working.
Always,
He's always working.
Always. Yeah, so he's been doing a lot of. Actually, he's on Country Queen as well.
Yeah, I think I saw him on Country Queen.
Yeah. We can just wash out that kitoko. Sorry, Kevo.
It's okay.
Sorry. So, yes. So, well, look at your span. I mean, you began at the age of 4.
Something like that.
That was
a
something
long
like that.
time ago. Long time ago.
Literally at the age of 4. And you continue on with music from the days you were in Saints, and then you got now into in music now together with Five Alive, and then from there you went into college.
I went to college, yeah.
I went to college, and then when you came back, when the whole bombing of in 1998 happened, you came out with Daima. Kenya Only, which was also
but it's I came out with Kenya Only even before the bomb thing happened.
Really?
I wrote Kenya Only just before I went to college in '97. Then it got recognized at the time of the bombing. Different sort of media houses were sort of just using it
on loop.
Yeah.
Like literally, if they were paying you for advertisement, you would rake a lot of money because you spend a lot of hours on our media just being played over and over.
But that song continues to do its work, you know,
exactly.
And it pays.
Even during the elections, during every break, it was on loop and on loop. Because my kids who are 2 and 5-year-olds learned the song based on that. So it continues to do big things, and you see people are talking about it being the national anthem. But not only that, you've done an amazing amount of work. You took Kenyans to Broadway.
Wow. Yes.
Cheesy was one of them.
Yes.
Who else? I'm trying to impress you. With how much I know, I don't know if I'm doing a good job so far. But you took Kenyans to Broadway. The play was
we took Mofire.
Yes, Mofire.
But Mofire wasn't exactly on Broadway. Mofire was in a musical theater festival happening in New York.
Okay.
Right? We did take Tinga Tinga to Broadway.
Right.
Which was much more recent. But I mean, that stuff happens with a lot of partners. You know what I mean? Safaricom was involved with that.
Right.
We had 1 or 2 sort of private benefactors who are making that happen. At the end of the day, it's about partnerships, and we can do a lot of great stuff.
Preach.
I want the word.
Nyamazeni kidogo. I wanted to partner in that rap stuff you did kwa theater, man. That was.
We can do that. I'm just
bro, I saw it. I came to and I saw it. I was like, damn. Storyline. I was like, why you never did a movie about it? I wouldn't jibu kwanza sahi.
No, but now that you mentioned it, no. We started doing a thing called the Nairobi Musical Theatre Initiative. So musical theatre is something that we all know and have experienced in some way, shape, or form, right? But whenever musical theatre is done in Kenya, sana sana ni Greece, the musical Auni Sarafina, and I love Sarafina and I thank them for all the work they've done. But we've got a bunch of stories of our own that we want to tell, right?
Exactly.
So, for example, earlier on I was mentioning El Ness, who we all know, the hip hopper, is doing a musical with Sitawa Namwalie, who's a well-known poet and playwright,
right?
About this guy who's trying to escape from prison. He goes and escapes under the is being held as a fugitive under the warden's bed by the warden's wife, and we find out that actually all of them are trying to escape, right? And so it's this amazing hip-hop musical that's set inside committee, right? And guys are just doing this. It's fantastic.
Do you know, first of all, the Akwabi family as a whole.
What are we saying?
Hey!
What are we saying?
We are not worthy. Let me tell you from the dad.
No, we talk about Ambrose. We never speak about the dad. Who is a professor.
He speaks about the dad a lot.
He's touring now.
Ambrose husema, lakini people don't care about the dad. They care about Ambrose. But the dad, actually, because when you sit with Ambrose, he'll always tell you, my dad.
Oh, yeah.
But you know,
Vilako strict na sisi na music. Ufinya kapiano kabala. Like, he perfected us in everything we did.
Yes.
So, Buddha Ambrose.
But there's an interesting point that you guys have mentioned about Africa. And I want to talk just briefly about this. Yesterday I was at an event for multi-choice.
Yeah.
The graduation they're having for Talent Factory.
Right.
There's an artist I was producing from Uganda who invited me for the graduation. Shout out to Afri. And I met an old friend of mine from back in the days, Terry, and Chebed was hosting it.
Right.
Oh, nice.
And one thing they talked about that you've just mentioned that's very important. They kept on talking about these new filmmakers that have come out. They first of all said they will not make it if they work alone. They need to work together.
100%.
None of us will make it if we work alone.
And then the other thing is, the thing that they focused on that I loved, because we all know multichoice comes from SA and everything, but one thing they focused on is that we as Africans have stories. And we need to focus on telling our African stories. A lot of times it's true. We do focus on the stories that come from other parts in the world. Not necessarily just America, but other parts in the world. But Africa, we grew up as being storytellers. We have our own stories.
Right. And
we need to focus that. Even if you listen to the music, there's very few people who talk about African stories in their music. You know?
You know, Jimmy, we are coming from very far, which is something we don't talk about. Sorry.
Uncle,
There's something that we're not.
I'm sorry,
Now, do you know that many communities in Kenya were forced to break their pots? Back in colonialism was so thorough.
Yeah.
Your grandparents, your great-grandparents had to make a complete cut from their culture.
Oh, wow.
So where we are right now, we are rebuilding this thing from scratch. Right? So, guys, able to peleke pole pole. Right? Everyone who's there like, oh, we don't know what we're doing, or you guys we like Niger. Just relax the body.
Right.
We are reconstructing this thing from scratch. Right? And so it's something that we all need to do together. And so when you say we're missing out some elements, we're all in this thing trying to reconstruct this history.
Right.
So if you've got ideas out there, throw them away. What I could just criticize, guys. Bring this.
And that's why we need to come together.
Actually, let's reason.
Yeah.
So America is how many years actually come to whatever with your point?
From 1776 that's from the
and
independence.
Kenya 6, and we're still complaining.
Yeah.
Bado. Actually tuko ahead of our time school vile tunafaa kwenda na motaratara. So actually we don't need to complain. We need to be pioneers in everything we do. We work hard. We put 100 in everything.
I like the aspects you brought. I like the aspects you guys have brought up today. First of all, yes, we're still very young. We're still very young, and we shouldn't rush to it. We lay down a good foundation, and then the other thing is doing it together. That foundation is built together.
Yeah, we're gonna work together.
I love the aspects you guys are bringing out.
Actually, Maira, sorry kidogo. So actually, even apart from we need to do everything, whatever we need to do, up until actually tunakosea. What we need to do, we need to perfect from every lesson we learn from every other country. Because we all, sindo tunakunga 100 years since colonization, since world open up, na global village come through. Kenya is only since the first white man to come in Kenya was in 1902. We are in 2022. So we are talking about how many years? 100 years.
Right.
Years. So now, we still have a lot of space to perfect. A lot.
Right.
If you agreed to kando tu.
Right.
Kwa sababu ya nini ukiangalia Amerika imewachukua hiyo ilibidi wachukue maslezu wadunde huko ndio nini wafanye nini everything say wako pali wako haikuja cheap. Na sisi tuna complain juu tu 100 years na tumetoka koloni hata ijagonga 50 years na bado tuna complain. Kidogo hapo tuko unfair.
There's something you mentioned earlier about, doing something and taking a stand. Throughout your career you've done that. Very loud, like what you did in Chia Kitu Kidogo. And again, the stand at the Smithsonian. The time I think even you led a congregation to do the national anthem at the archives, outside the archives in Tao. How has that been, taking that bold stand? How has it been in your career? Because there are a lot of artists who are trying to do it right now. How has it worked out for them? And how do you see it working out for them in the future, especially when it comes to standing up for their rights as musicians?
I mean, speak your truth, whatever your truth is, you know. I'm going to say now, one of the other things that we need to stand up for is gay rights. I'm going to say that out loud with a loud voice. Umenisikia? Yeah.
Come again.
It's not popular, but it has
it's
to
not
be
popular,
said.
but it's something we have to talk about.
True.
So for me, I think a lot of it began, and this is my particular journey, coming from the church. You know, I was like, I don't want to sing only for Christian congregations anymore. I want to go further afield.
Right.
And my mom, who I love dearly, said to me, look, if you're singing the truth, it's gospel. So go out into the world, do your thing, right?
Word.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
And so I was there like, yeah, man, thanks.
You
You know, it was, born in truth.
gospel.
Give me gospel. Yeah?
No, it's
You
true.
know what I'm saying? You know?
100%,
I've
yeah.
never had that. But any blessings.
And there are a lot of secular musicians out there
Yeah.
who are speaking truth, and they're like, this you learn as much from this person as the pastor or the priest who you're listening to on a Sunday. It's just
Yeah.
like, come on, man, it's the real thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that all of us, whatever, should speak to our truth. There'll be hard times. There'll be times that you get rewarded for it.
Right.
But there are times that you'll step on some toes. You know. But that's just how the game goes.
Did you come under heavy fire for Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo? Because that was the biggest, like, curtain opener for Kenya to the world.
I came under fire, but not as much as I want my street cred to say.
Oh, okay.
Man, we were just driving through town, man, and the cops just showed up, man, trying to bust shit up. It wasn't like that.
Right.
Sema kweli.
Right.
So a lot of sort of the backlash from Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo, I wasn't actually in town. I was in college at the time,
okay.
right? And people are like, oh my god, ingoma inavuma sana, as in like cops are stopping school buses and the kids are singing Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo, you know. And they're like, oh man, I wish I was there for that. But to date, I know there's stations that are affiliated with the state that are today are not allowed to play the song.
Really?
They're like, come on, man, it's 20 years later.
Oh my god.
You know? Come on. You know?
There have been so many songs for freedom, like surely they sing a lot just that one.
Wewe, wacha niwaambie kitu. Eric alichoma. Alipiga mpaka mambanga chai.
So I have a question.
Mpaka jeshi
Okay,
come too much.
I have a question for Eric here. I was around when you did your show at Kani with the guys from Berkeley that you're with. Yeah? So my question is this: Did you just decide to go like a Kenyan African route in your music like that? Because you know Five Alive was different, the sound and everything. Or was it something that you were advised to do? Like, how did you come up with it?
It was a conscious decision. I mean, first of all, we showed up in the US. I showed up in the US, and we'd been heavily inspired by R&B, sort of Boyz II Men, all of that stuff. And we get there, and people are saying to us, "Oh, you're a Kenyan. Play us some Kenyan music." And I had no idea what that meant, you know. And so I came home just trying to meet up with musicians, trying to figure stuff out. Began networking, you know, and that's how we sort of came up with the sound for that first album. All that, where Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo comes from, where Rituali Yaku comes from, it's all sort of learning and hearing and just playing with people, you know. So it was a conscious decision.
Because it kind of felt like it had had an African sound, but also there was a blend of jazz.
There's like a blend, yeah. But ultimately, I think I remember I was working with some other producers, like 10 years ago. So like, we don't let things like that bother us. We don't like try and be African, or we don't try and be whatever. We just try and do our thing. And I hear that as well. You know, there's definitely don't bow to pressure. You know, do your thing.
True.
Usipangwe.
But also unajua for me, okay, as much as Kalamashaka wako involved in everything, there's a way nilisikiza Five Alive and I was like, wow, kuna kitu ilileta. It brought something kwa industry because it was before even Kalamashaka. So it brought something, but we felt like, hey, we can have our own. It made me feel like,
Hey, you know, this is something that I need to tell people. They don't know this story, but there's a time when I was in an a cappella group. It's called Touch. Yes, I sing the bass in the a cappella group, and Five Alive was at that concert, And I was, at the same time, I was in another group called Rap Community. We performed. And Eric rushed. We had never really talked. Eric, he rushed to me. He's like, I like what you guys are doing. Here's my number. I like to work with you guys.
Nice.
You know? So he gave me, I think I came to your house. I think it was Church Road or something.
Oh yeah.
I came.
Yes.
I came there. I came there. But then when I showed up alone, and I wanted a hip hop track. So Eric is like, where are your boys? And I was like, no, I want a hip hop. So he was disappointed. But I remember you pulled out your keyboard. It was an Sonic.
Yeah.
I remember. And you built, those days, by the way, there was no really computer. It was all done.
All done on your keyboard.
Yeah, it was all done on your keyboard.
NOG.
And so people need to know the first guy who actually built for me a track is Eric. The second was Ted Josiah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's like he also we were even the group that I was in, both Rap Community and Touch, they were inspired by what he did, and he put something in us, and their group Five Alive put something in us to help us feel like we can go the extra mile to do what we were doing musically.
Great.
And I think it's important to acknowledge the people who are in your life, you built where you're going in your life. Yeah.
So hivi tuseme, ngoja wacha nichome kwanza.
Choma,
Mimi ni wa hood.
Lakini usichome
So Big Kev na Big Ted ni ma student wako? Nimesema na choma.
I wouldn't say that.
Jukuru amesema.
You know.
Inamaanisha Jumi alikuwa anajua, unajua alikuwa ameniambia ndio.
The thing people don't understand.
Anasema inamaanisha wewe ndio ulikuwa
Touch as a group.
But no, all of us, I think all of us are students of Ted Josiah and Peter Dera.
Exactly.
That's true.
Because the first place actually outside of Rusingso I saw Five Alive perform, every Sunday there used to be a show at the Fern Restaurant at Barclays Plaza.
That's true.
In town.
Yeah.
In the afternoon. There was only place to go for a concert on that day on Sunday. And I remember Five Alive. Yes, Five Alive, and it was free. There was Aguna Malipo. Five Alive came perform there. You know.
At that time, Barclays Plaza was classy.
Yeah. And
So
it
when
was
time you're checking in there, you're like, ooh,
It was the first time. It was the first place there was a downward escalator.
Exactly.
The
whole
That's the
of
first
Nai.
time. Yes. Hey, little fungwa is like.
inaenda chini.
Escalator kwenda down.
In fact, a lot of
the first time umepanda escalator ambayo inashuka. How do you feel at that point? Yani it's like umeingia roller coaster. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, then they don't understand.
Oh, you're bringing it
They don't understand.
You guys were born when there was the internet and there was escalator. See, tulikuwa tulikuwa pia na ma phone booth. Ushaiona phone booth? Unajua call box. Unajua call box.
They're like, where are those?
They don't know VHS tape.
Wait.
You don't know.
The first phone.
Do you even know about the mini disc? Wacha tuanze hapo mini disc. Na floppy disc. Ukibuild beat lazima uwe kwa floppy disk.
Yeah, so siku conscious yangu ilikuwa inagonga hapo ndo naona ka floppy.
But the good thing that time a lot of venues
ilikuwa itakuwa nini midi tape ile lazima ungepiga hapo ndo urushia channel ile tape lazima ungenunua ile ilikuwa ya makamba.
DAT tape. That
nilinunua pesa mingi. Alafu hata wewe kuichezangu. The safaration of msanii wa Kenya. Umedu video lakini unaambiwa ipige kwa that tape. Umetafuta that tape Nairobi mzima my friend na kuambia.
Me I bought a second hand that tape and the cheapest was 1K. And that was from a friend of mine. That was a used one.
Oh wow.
Mimi walinipiga 15. Nilikuwa naambiwa inaenda channel kwanza inaenda channel 15.
First of all, I love the fact in the 90s
kumixia kumbe wana mix unajua tairusha hapo irusha tu hapa dakika 2-3
alafu I'm scared about the 90s hapa.
Yeah, I was a child by then, but you exposed me to a lot. But a lot of venues opened up to the music industry. There was the fire.
And then
when
like
you
were
said,
a child,
I was very young. Hard Rock Cafe.
There's this Harley Davidson they used to hang up in
there was a Cadillac. There was a Cadillac as well.
I used to hear about it. I never saw it. I used to hear about it. Kenya National Theatre also. Kenya National. Wait, hold on. Kenya National Theatre as well.
Come that bike WhatsApp. Kama pigiririwa WhatsApp.
That bike, man. They see that bike.
That bike. Okay. Also, Village Market.
To get to what he
Village Market also opened up for a lot of artists at that time. Whereas, like a lot of venues don't do that nowadays.
Village Market came up in 97. And I remember before Village Market came, because at that time I was in Rusinga school, there used to be mud huts there. Yeah. Right? And then the kids would come and wave every morning when the bus is going through there.
Right.
And so hence it was removed. Those village was removed, their mud huts. And it became known as Village Market.
Right. Oh, wow. That I did not know.
Yeah.
So now, as in, looking again at your career, a lot of the music you did also, and a lot of the music in your time did a lot for civic education. And this past elections have proven that there isn't enough of that anymore. So now the mix of civic education and music, can that kind of like still come back and still made into a funky way for people to be able to understand? Because you guys made it fun at that time.
Well, I think one of the problems with message music is that it can get really heavy.
Right.
It can get really heavy.
Right.
I mean, there's a song we had to do for the World Cup when it was in 2010 for the United Nations Millennium Development Goals.
Okay.
And so, I mean, can you imagine trying to fit the word sanitation into a song? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that
songwriting 101.
Yeah. I think so. I think sort of songs that are sort of about a particular thing, they have their space, right?
Right.
But they can't be all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Although again, you guys made it somehow work.
Yeah.
In a way that all of us, when you're young or old, were able to sing about it, and it was in a fun way, and we got to learn a lot about our society through the music.
Possibly, yeah.
Because everybody's talking about, music doesn't have substance anymore. We don't think about it. But also conscious music has it, like you said, has its time, has its place.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, sort of Daima for the stadium and
right.
What's that kajam? For the disco. You can't have Daima playing in the club.
Ile usiku nini juu ya kikundi nafikiria kukuuliza kama tu remix. Mimi niko off topic hizo basically. Hiyo akiku. Mimi nakuja hiyo akiku. Acha jinsi na mayai.
There are time and a place for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Drinks the mayai na sanitation.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. Sanitizer.
That being said, I think there's a lot of scope. Yeah. And this is not sort of necessarily commercial music, right? But like, there's a lot of scope for some of the harder topics in school, right? To be digested for and sort of you make little funny rap, gengetone, Afro pop songs out of them, right?
Right.
In the way that people have done that with, be it Sesame Street or whatever, for kids to access hard topics,
especially sex education right now.
That would be great.
Yes,
that would be great.
It's highly needed.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so jamii kila mtu beruka. So mnongile kama ile biashara nasa alifanya at least ya kueducate watu in a good way, unajua? Ama niko off topic.
Yeah, fun music but it's educational at the same time.
Yeah.
Like what
but Eric ashaua. Eric alipatia watu manifest akamwambia hii kama si hivi mimi si hapana tambua.
Because I'll tell you this. I own a little company called Kiddie Karaoke.
Oh, nice.
Where we make stars out of kids through the songs that they love to sing, which is karaoke music. But the music they love to sing is sometimes just a little too much. And they don't have a lot to kind of like have fun with, but it's in a nice, clean way.
I think okay, I remember being at a TV station on a Saturday morning, and the guys that I was with, sort of my crew, there's a couple of producers, they were like, so the TV happened to be on, and there was a lot of sort of raunchy music playing, and the guys they're like, oh my god, on Saturdays when we were kids there was cartoons,
right?
And so I think there's been a lot of moving away to sort of the easier thing, sort of prepackaged, and it's right there. And I mean, no offense to anyone, but there's a DJ playing stuff, and there's a camera doing intercuts or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, and so kids are dancing to a lot of adult music.
That's
very
true.
early.
That's true.
And I'm not a conservative,
right?
But I think that there definitely is space for kids to be kids.
That's true.
And so let's give them some kiddie music.
There we go.
You know,
I was driving to that because I need some in my collection because it's very hard to kind of like put a list together, and the parents are like, yeah, put for them this, that, and the other, and you listen to the lyrics and you're like, oh my god, it's a bit too
sorry,
much.
I think
and that's why I really like spaces like for Tinga Tinga Tales to come. So I don't know if that's coming back or if it ever stopped.
Have you seen the one of Lupita?
Yes. Sulwe.
Yeah. We hiyo kitu inanifanya mtu wangu atatambuishi.
Yes.
Atambua tu hisi hiyo juu yako like yo super dunia nimefika mpaka niko like
We even had Timothy Owase from the Kenya Film Commission was here. He was here sometime last year when he paid us a visit, and he was like, we have this much budget for kids content but no proposals. No one is doing it. He's like, please give me something. Something. I need something for kids content because there's a budget allocated. It's never been used.
It's good to hear that.
But there's a lot of, if you go to YouTube channels right now, I'm saying for East Africa, there's a lot of music videos and what for kids,
children.
But some of those dance moves that they do are not for children.
Not only that, they've taken, like they've taken, Cardi B's WAP and made it into, a kid's version. And I'm like, no, we're not there yet. All right, we got to go on a short break. Before the break, we were listening to Pato Juguna featuring Wainaina and Frasha.
Nowadays he goes by the name Aliye.
Yes.
And
yes, he's a great songwriter. We also had Eric Wainaina again with Selena. And we also had Eric Wainaina featuring Television Tell Your Mother.
Huh?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, we're still playing great Kenyan jams right here. We're still playing great Kenyan jams, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the projects that Eric is into right now, so that we can follow them, the music, the people he's listening to as well. Would love to hear what your playlist sounds like, because he sent us a playlist and it was so dope.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I thought you said 100.
Mzee mzima amesema 100. Amesema 100.
There we go. All right, remember you're streaming us on www.iconradio.co.ke. We're also live on YouTube. So even if you don't get it now, you'll get to see it kidogo later. But you'll see it either way. Remember to hit us up on 0788380030 as we continue taking your messages here on The Vault on Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. Yani, if only my in-laws were listening. I hope they're listening because they play this song at every function. Every. But do you know I love Mashakura? Like I inhale it.
Oh goodness, what can we do? What can we are trying to leave it and you're trying to claim it.
I swear.
I have no comment to that.
Ooh, the Mashakura is a guess. I love it. Put in your crochet.
Let me say something. Let me say something out of your. If you understand me, and if umetembea, I'm crossing borders. I'm talking about ula nielewa. You know, when you say Mashakura, my mind actually came direct to Forodhani, Zanzibar, your place. If you have been to Forodhani, that seafood. I see food. Every time I see food, I see food. Because Abzotani, seafood.
All right.
But unajua one thing, Machakura abroad, you know what it's called? It's called buffet.
What? Buffet?
Yeah, ni buffet. It's just...
It's okay. It makes a buffet in my stomach. All right. That was Eric Wainaina with Ritwa Riaku. It's called Ritwa Riaku, sindio?
That's correct. Ritwa
Riaku. Stop slaughtering. Atuko KMTC.
Ay, ni sawa. Ni sawa. Well done, Mira.
Thank you. Unajua
umefanya mpaka KDF wamejiami. If you get what I mean.
Do you know that's also a big song in karaoke? It's a very big song in karaoke.
I've actually seen a couple of people doing it. It's nice.
It's always requested when we do karaoke. But yes, it's very cool. And then we had Winyo featuring Suraj.
That's a beautiful jam.
Oriti. Hey, where?
But listen to that whole thing. Tell your listeners, Winyo, Suraj, just check, and Kato Change is the other musician on that.
Oh, Kato, man, Kato, yes, he's a beast on the guitar,
man,
absolute beast.
You must hear. Like I know him. Yeah, you probably do.
He tours the world. These are the people we don't usually see a lot at home, but outside there. What happened to Abby, by the way?
I haven't seen Abby in a while. We used to share a stage at a place called Club Sound. I'll do one Saturday, he'd do the next.
Hey, you guys used to do Club Sound.
I haven't seen him in about 10
thing about Abby is a friend of mine from way back.
Oh,
because he used to be in this a cappella group called The Boys.
Wow. Okay.
And they grew up in my dad's church. These are all guys of Shauri Moyo.
Oh, really?
Guys from Shauri Moyo. Like him, Georgia Dede, that whole clique.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then they also were the ones who they used to organize the shows for Churchill.
Right.
Yeah, they were his team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Abby, I remember when he started working on his first album as solo, he actually did it with Steve Ominde.
Because I was wondering where he went to. Like, Abby is an amazing musician.
So, Maira, before kunywa maji, Maira, before you drink water, can I break this? Okay, it's not a breaking news. I have a song with Abby.
Oh, wow.
It's called Pesa Pesa.
Yeah, we need to look for it. Wait,
actually, I did it with umesema nini wana do your acting senior project wanafaa kudu ya rap huyo mrembo sister Ambrose.
Elness.
Yeah, I did with Elness. Our friend.
I know you.
Our friend, the lady friend, the raga one who does everything.
Nani?
Candy.
Oh, Candy.
Yeah, I did it with Candy.
Atu.
Abby. Yeah. Abby,
hey, she goes.
Elness. But it was in the Kidocha Haki project.
Okay.
Mzee mzima alitokea from nowhere. Like, nasikia mna do project, mnipigie song. Na after hapo, we never saw him again. Unacheza na Abby ako levels, Abby ako levels. Aliingia na akaimba 100%. Wile alipatia, he gave his heart. Alituachia roho yake na akajipa shughuli, kumaanisha msiniite kwa show, msiniite kwa kitu yote. Sinimewachia kitu chezeni kaa nyinyi. Na he went.
Bas.
Hiyo kweli tu pesa.
All that
kilio cha haki.
People forget that
hapo na ili pesa sabuni ya roho.
You know, people forget.
Yaumiza moyo.
People forget Kenya has great musicians. Abby and his team had great. One of those great musicians that was on his team was Emmanuel Uzele.
Okay.
You know, awesome musician.
All
We have crazy musicians in Kenya, and they need to get their props.
All that music
where is Abi actually, by the way? Come to think of it.
I don't know.
We'll look for him.
Yeah, we need to trace him.
Yeah, I was asking
Huyo
that question
jamani
just the other
alikuwa
day.
wewe. Kwanza ikuja ni vocals.
Yeah.
That guy was.
But he's the voice from Kisumu 100. That's
Exactly. We
that's what
played
people
Kisumu
remember.
100. I was like, where did this guy go to? Yeah.
That's Abi.
But I know where Abi went. Uhuru killed National Theatre. I'm sorry, not politics.
Either way, all that music,
Jirongi, forgive me.
all that music was dreams in stereo.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get it? It had passed. You don't remember? Yeah. All right. That means we need to finish up because we don't want to keep guys so much. First of all,
No. Iko kwa simu. Special.
okay. Akiji is so random. But yes, now, what is Eric Winena up to now?
Okay, so the song that you played at the beginning, or earlier on, Mama Luka, is part of a larger project. There's a couple of other songs on there which are ready to go. We're just getting the videos and everything in place.
Right.
Yeah, it's just. So I'm now being produced by a guy called Bogwa. Yes.
Okay.
And he's a really great producer. We've been working together with him, and then there's a group called Television.
Right.
That we're producing as well, and they're putting out some stuff as well.
Amazing voices right there.
Yeah.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Hearing them.
Yeah. Television are fantastic, and
amazing.
I mean, they write such good stuff, and there's a bunch of songs coming out, and you
Nice.
will come and we'll release some of them here.
Please
if you
give
let
us those exclusives.
Yeah.
We love exclusives.
And then our daughter is a great songwriter as well.
I saw that page.
She's great. Yeah, that's kind of a bunch of stuff that we're working on.
Right.
And other stuff that it'll be on the social medias.
All right.
Yeah, but those are the main ones.
Okay, I don't know what G is waving in front of my face. Okay.
Actually, this is personal. Mzerik, this is personal. One of the dopest Kenyan rappers actually is one very dope rapper. He's called Romy Swahili. He personally told me to ask you this question. Mpaka sunachikinaitwa kwa WhatsApp. Ask, acha nisome. Itangoje verbatim. Ndio. He told me, ask Eric about his song Mama Luka. Such a powerful tribute alidedicatea nani? Hata imeishi hapo. Si unaiona? Yaani ameiweka tu hivyo. Romy Swahili. He's one of the dopest rapper, the most poet rapper.
And he has a big tune out right now.
He's very conscious, philosophical. He's a poet. He's at all levels.
And he helps write for other artists also.
He's Romy.
It's all love. It's all love for Romy on Icon Radio.
He's Nimrila Nanga. He's just hata wezi mu explain. Hata wezi sema Romy ni. He's just Romy.
Yeah.
Alitaka kujua Mama Luka.
Okay, to be honest, so Romy, straight question, straight answer. So I wrote that song because we were living in a neighborhood that had been built in the 60s, and a lot of people, the families had moved there. The houses were built for independent Africans, right? And over the course of the last 50 years, that dream had sort of died.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of estates like those. Ka Nimada, built in a particular way. Otiende, which is where we were living, Moi Estate, Moi is a lot more recent.
Yeah.
And so I was inspired by a neighborhood that I'd been living in and just sort of seeing what was happening. And so what tended to happen is that, so these estates were built, but nothing came after. They were meant to build other ones after that.
Right.
They ate the money actually.
They ate the money, and then the independence dream just suffered and died.
Okay.
Fizzled away.
Yeah.
Because even Dandora is an IMF project. But I can touch the guy who ate all the money because he's dead. No, he's dead. Hawezi tusu, amededi. Mwenje, do you remember Mwenje? Na hiyo biashara yake ya jeshi la Mwenje. If you remember that time, it was all about fighting people who were coming to buy land. So he was the one who was given the priority ya kumalizia. That's why unaona mpaka Dandora dump site, Paloloka dump site, it was supposed to be an estate. But something somewhere happened. He did not finish it. so hiyo pesa akaweka mfuko, so he left a whole estate empty ndio watupe takataka, so akakula hiyo pesa ya IMF. So mpaka wale, I won't lie to you, I'm paying for that money because my parents died, so me I have to pay for it, because if we still have property in Dandora, you still have to pay for that estate. Mwenje alikula na familia yake, sasa hivi wanakula pesa ya majani chai na vitu kama hizo. Okay, mzee ulikuwa kwa topic fulani hizo.
No, I mean that's the point, as in like, and so you'd find so estates like Otiende, for instance, were built with a particular vision in mind, right? It's houses for independent Africans. There was a backyard so you can have visitors, you know, that kind of thing. But as time went on, and people in the civil service also began to lose their jobs, and the pensions were getting stolen. Right. So there's two problems that were sort of happening. Yeah. There's not enough housing. Right. And then people who are getting older don't have their pensions available. Right. Something like, I've got a house, why don't I build a extension? Right. And then so it got to a point where now the whole back garden is now extensions, right? And the problem with that is that now the dream that you had planned on living, right, is not there anymore, right? It even got to a point where families were doing so badly, wanatoka kutoka the main house, wanaingia kwa extension, ili main house wanaweza kuirent, right? You know? Yeah. And so it's just the lack of vision of the different sort of cities, right. You know, be it Nairobi, be it Nakuru, be it Mombasa, to extend sort of living further and further out of the city, and keep on building houses so that people can live in dignity, you know. And I mean, like even we look at Otiende, the people who are living in the shacks are honest, decent human beings, right, who are teachers, who are nurses, who are whatever, right, but there's no housing, right, you know.
Eric, I ask you, was it intentional? Ama vipi? Was it intentional? Because was it intentional? Because I know I'm speaking out of this. The guys who are in that position to make your decision, I can't say they were stupid or travel maju. So they had projected vile Europe in a growth, the growth of Europe kwanzia Stone Age nini. So they know how you need to extend. Na vile new world in a come in. Was it intentional? Because they saw us, mimi nimechanuka. It's like that topic ya ule MP alipelekwa London akaangalia kurudi Kenya kuingia parliament akaambia watu sisi tunataka zile taa zinaenda nyweko, kumbe anamaanisha street light, but he doesn't know to say street light, he's just saying nyweko, as in ili kufala yao watu wetu viongozi, ama ilikuwa ni because we can't say we got lack of educated people in Kenya, people who can calculate already. For example, say ukienda Europe, right now ukienda Europe kuna kitu unaona okay, in Kenya kutakuwa hivi in 20 years. As in kuna kitu ile sijasema ni architecture ama anything, but kuna vitu utaona okay. Na ama sometimes ukienda Europe ukiland Kenya within 1 year ile fashion uliona huko ndo inaland Kenya, you know. As in kuna ile projection, you will always, as in kuna hiyo projection, as in lazima ucalculate in future. Juu for example hata ukienda Tanzania ukiona pale wako, for me last time nilikuwa Tanzania it was in 2010, and where I saw them in 1995. So kumaanisha historia yao itabadilika ki 2002 ile siku moja ilitoka ki Kenya, which hasn't happened. About projection in a camp, maybe hiyo itafanyika 2025 ama as in there are some places you can go wako mbele yetu ama wako nyuma, you can project some things. So was it intentional? No wonder tuko ile situation tuko, no wonder for example watu fulani wanaweza just do vitu for the purpose of it, wakisema ngao ni mafala. Story kama COVID, we all know there was something in between there, but watu walikula pesa for what reason? Did they know COVID hawezi kula watu, ama did they know Wakenya ni strong sana, they wanastahimili, so we don't need, ama what is that thing? Kuna kitu fulani na hiyo swali ni refu, lakini
I think one of the main things is lack of consequences, right? And so people do stuff, you know, and we all know who they are, right? But I don't know. It's like a game of keeping people. If you keep people really poor, okay, right? When the time comes for elections, all you have to do is pay them a little bit of money, and then you'll get in, and it becomes a popularity contest. Yesterday I was at a governor's baraza, and it was so interesting to hear. There was 3 counties. There was Nandi, there was Meru, and Makueni. And it was so interesting to hear the woman from Makueni, who was the county secretary, talk about, they're like, we're in the 3rd cycle of devolution, right? And we are building on the 10 years that have passed with Kivu the Kibwana, right? So they're saying this guy did some great stuff, and Makueni is building up from that, right?
Yeah.
But the Chile from a woman from Meru is like, us guys, we've gone into Meru and we have found empty coffers, right? Ata hakutaja who the previous governor was. It's like a memory that we don't even talk about, right?
Right.
And so it's like people need to understand what are the consequences of putting certain people in power. You know,
that's true.
That it's gonna come and bite you.
Right.
Where we live, right? Where us guys are living right now, right? The road to our place, my Jesus, ata yesu, yani ata haiwezi kwa hiyo haiwezi, right? And so for example, the other day, right? And it's been bad for the last, I don't know, us guys moved in there 3 years ago, but it's been bad for like 10 years. Right?
Yeah.
So, wase wa tuk-tuk, wase wa boda, guys, residents of the area, they got together and said, sasa tunagoma, right? So last Friday, guys go onto the streets. Who's there? Cops are there to stop guys from demonstrating about a road. A road. Yeah? In fact, yesterday, nisema kuongea na Karau nikwambia, boss, let's get together and talk about this thing, eh? Kwa sababu sio poa, unauliza mtu license wakati umesimama ndani ya pothole.
Even for them.
Sasa unaniambia nini?
Even for them it should be a problem. Like honestly speaking. That's true.
Hey man. What does that mean?
But you see the thing I haven't understood about and we deal with this in the area that I live in Madaraka. Fine Soko came and then he said the main road, he's gonna fix it up. He fixed it up plus the street lights. But then when you get into Bada, there's the estate, like where you enter into your court. The council said that's not their responsibility. That's the responsibility of the people who live there. What? You know? Yeah. The inner road, like if your court is this, the main road they say that's for the government. The one inside, hiyo ni shida yako. It just got sorted the other day. When guys really complained, they kept on pestering these guys. They came to all the courts, you can imagine, all the courts in Madag, they came together and said, no, this or that. And this has been going on like for 5 years, 6 years. They had to complain. But that's the thing I've never understood, like at the end of the day. Like these people always push the responsibility to someone else. They never want to deal with that responsibility.
Right.
And then they come and say, vote for me.
So Romy Swahili, the long shot of that,
yes. Is that it's a song that comes from a direct personal experience,
okay,
and sort of seeing the stuff that was happening around, and sort of our neighbors sort of working together. We would have cleanups every weekend.
Right.
You know, we took the personal responsibility of saying, look, how this place looks will actually influence how we feel about it, you know. And so I'd recommend that for communities around the country, you know, start by collecting rubbish in your area.
Yeah,
if you start by doing that, right? If there's like us guys, one thing we shikana with our neighbors, because there's a lot of mabati, right? Well, they're like, why don't we paint this mabati jungle green? So in Akakani, ni hedge fulani, right?
Nice,
and then we planted bougainvilleas. These things it doesn't cost anything,
right?
You
right.
know?
Just
and
initiative.
So it made our street look like something in Runda,
right?
You know,
amazing.
So these things are possible, and it turns how you feel about a place. You know, just we can do it. Me, by the way, I'm ready. I'm volunteering. Takuja kwa takataka mtaka.
Tuifanye. I'll call it South B.
Yes.
Now, what is in Eric Wainaina's playlist right now?
Man, a bunch of stuff. So today, by the way, I have various playlists.
Okay.
So today we're going to school with my child and say, why don't you choose the music, right?
Right.
And then she starts to play this bunch of, for lack of a better term, sort of random white boys. I was like, me, I'm as global as anybody else.
Right.
Right? But where are the black people on this list of yours? Where are the Africans? I was like, Ebu just find Gege to 2022, let's just go see who's there. Right?
Right.
Eh? Seriously. Parenting. I don't want to be the person who's being told that a child saying, oh yeah, my parents didn't make me listen to Kenyan music. Utaskiza mziki ya Kenya.
There we go.
Tell me which is your favorite.
There we go.
Sit down. Listen together.
So the last song I heard was Pepeta by Benzema on my way in. Unaona? Ziko hapa zote. Keselas. Hizi zote. Chepukati. Drinks na mayanks. So other stuff that I listen to, I'm listening. I'm very inconsistent.
Right.
Simu umekataa kuzimisha.
Go mad. Like we're listening to Kenyan music by force by fire.
Yeah, no, but really because we grew up listening to a lot of different things, you know, and
Right.
I kind of feel that it's sometimes I complain in my interviews, oh, we didn't listen to enough Kenyan music. I don't want my kids to ever have to say that, you know.
Right.
Those zilikuwa chache, and then also,
3, 4, so-
but all no, there wasn't enough for sure. There wasn't enough,
Right.
But
Right.
now that's not the issue.
Right.
So lazima
Right.
inabidi
And so,
kwa-
yeah,
usisikize
lazima-
kila kitu
Yeah,
wewe,
you know, for sure, you know.
Mhm.
And so but I also listen to a lot of podcasts, stuff about the industry, stuff about ideas, you know. I'm listening to a lot of stuff. I don't know if I've answered your question, but my
Yeah, yeah,
playlist
yeah.
is everything.
Please,
I know. I'd love to hear that because, first of all, even just for the young guys watching, at least they know that you're getting in tune with the Gengetron that's out there and the
Oh,
music
for
that's
sure,
playing
man.
on the Kenyan streets.
Oh, for sure.
That is great to hear.
It's called the Kenyan dance
Wewe,
hall.
wewe,
The Kenyan dance hall.
wacha nirushe uchokozi hapa. Kuna mtu amenitumia kamswali de
Choka alisikuwa make juu ya project fulani, but niko tuned in. Much respect to all of you. Napenda sana the history lessons na get from nyinyi. Hopefully one day hata sisi tutafika heights zenyu. Big up.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
you, man.
naitwa Mwatika huyo.
Hatujafika bado, lakini even us guys bado tunatafuta
We're
nini.
We're still
We
there.
are still
We're still climbing.
bado ni upcoming.
See, bado ni upcoming.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Upcoming artists.
Was he try 53?
Ah.
Man.
Ataanza kuwa like, hey, bado mjafika na sisi tunafikira mmefika.
But in everything there are those who are greater and lesser than ourselves.
That's
right?
true.
Me,
It's
by the way,
life.
as in like, if someone say like, can we work together? Can we help each other out? Nitampatia namba yangu anipigie simu, or at least anitumie something on WhatsApp, right? Because I mean, don't I want to work with who? Beyonce.
There you go.
Don't I want to work with just name, you
right.
know,
Lionel
And
Richie, whoever.
whoever, you
Yeah.
know. And so if nikilinga na namba yangu, right? And the people who are greater than myself, you know.
Right.
Come on, man, you've got to.
Yeah, it's like
It's
I
common,
was
man.
having this discussion with Kunta this morning. I was talking to this young rapper who's coming up, a female rapper, and she told me she wanted to work with this super producer in Kenya. He's well known to produce some of the big names. And the producer, even though she's dope, he told her, "No, I can't work with you because on your social media page, you don't have enough numbers."
No, that's not cool,
is
man.
that-
Yeah.
It's not cool.
Hey.
To reach a certain threshold.
No.
Yeah, and to be honest, I find that really strange, by the way, and I find that really belittling,
It is.
to someone, you know, because at the end of the day, like this producer, when he started out, he didn't start out from the top. He started out from the bottom, and then he rose up.
Right.
You know,
So you've clearly said, "Come to me, ye who would like to work with me."
Yeah.
How can guys reach you? Because no, for real, as in like, you know, looking at artists, it takes a lot of. You need to be very brave to reach out and say, "Please, can I come? Can you come to the show? Can I work with you?" And you're very approachable. I was pleasantly surprised. It was amazing to see that you were able to come through.
Acha nikusifu. Maira kaniambia, "Haya, guy, Eric amechukua simu yangu na ameenda tuko poa." Mpaka niko like
In fact, he's the one who got in touch with me.
Unajua tumekuwa na shida mob na wasanii wengi, but
In
yeye
fact-
alikuwa zile like,
Gee.
"Wewe, mpaka nilikuwa namwambia, "Wewe unajua ni Eric."
G.
No,
He's
that's Eric.
G.
Juicy
sorry.
story.
He's the one who got in touch with me. It's not the other way even
So hata
around.
si hivyo unaniambia?
Yes, a
You alikuwa
big
na
up to
simu.
Sheba, please. Big
Yeah,
up
man.
to the wife.
Call the
man.
wife, call
Hey,
the
yes. Big up to you. You made this happen as well.
Actually, acha niacha kusifu. Hiyo connection imehappen in a week, even less than a week.
It was,
Yeah,
it was a
na
few
when
days.
last.
Kwa unajua Thoms PN. Alikuwa ameka gallery. We need to bring
Okay,
our
yeah,
ninja
yeah.
here Thoms. Thoms anachora.
Right.
Yeah,
Alright.
unaona painting yake niko na $500,000, niko like, "Hey my friend, I'm happy you are my neighbor." Yeah, wewe ni mchizi wangu lakini painting $500,000 so zile zetu za kuangalia art.
Man, no, give the value, man. In fact, it's supposed to be even $500,000.
Ili
Right.
nifanya mpaka
You
niko
know.
like mad respect kwa sababu nilikuwa like, man, akaniambia hapana, yeye ananiambia hapana. Mimi najijua niko worth even wachana na hiyo half. Mimi niko worth $1 billion. Ni vile sijafika wapi, but for now hiyo ndio bei yangu nimeweka. Mpaka nikampigia salute. Yeah,
So basically, even when musicians come and send music to Icon Radio, we're like, cool. You want us to play your music, but first of all, who are you? press kit Jimmy has really
I'm big on press kits because it's like a fellowship. We need to know you as you know us.
exactly fact sheets whatever, but you can go for a few minutes in a cyber cafe and type these things out at least for somebody to get to know you and your music.
And your picture of you.
And a picture of you, of course. Yeah, because we have a lot of guys standing in there like, play my music, and we're like, what is it? Who are you? They're not really describing themselves. So what would it take to work with Eric Wainaina?
Man, I think one of the what we're looking for is just people with talent, and people with drive, and you'd ask me how to get in touch at Eric Wainaina Music on IG. Everything else is just Eric Wainaina. Okay. And Eric Wainaina is ERIC. Hakuna K. No, just to be clear, right. It doesn't get to me.
Right.
Unajua tumeanzia nyuma watu wajue bado ni producer. You make apart from recording music, you make music.
True. Yeah, I'm a producer.
You have a studio and you create music.
Remember, you produced me.
Yeah, we know, yeah.
So tuanzie hapo. Wachana kidogo hapo turudi alafu kujie kwa hiyo. Turudi hapo tu nyuma. Actually, tunaanza inspiration yako. What made you make music? Ile kama alikuwa naye wacha ni make yangu tu.
Can I finish? Let me finish Myra's question first of all. Another problem, but one problem that we have is that, and how I am approaching it differently is that I'm trying to work with also other producers as well who might not have a either a studio or a label that they're affiliated with. Come on board. Let's work together, as in we'll provide you space, provide you with access to our gear, etc., etc., etc. Because one of the problems we have right now is capacity, right? So like Bogwa, bless his heart, he's like working on I think 4 projects right now, and I'm talking about full albums, right?
Oh wow, okay.
And it's just like the studio is always on, right? And so if someone comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, I've got some jams," I find myself like, okay, we need to have other producers on board that can help us do this stuff, So yeah, man. So I'm in a big networking coming together thing, you know. And I think I said that the other day, who was saying that Jamaica has the highest per capita output of songs, as in like they're putting out more songs than anybody else, right? And we just need to, producers, if need space, whatever, come, let's have a conversation. We have lots of space, and we can do stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, man.
No,
for real.
Sometimes, because even like Kunta, he works with us here at Icon Records, but he has his own space.
Yeah.
But sometimes you also need to get out of your own space to kind of get that creativity from a different angle. So I like the fact that you're opening it up to also other producers because, again, even if you have your own label, sometimes you just need to get out of it and get into a different space. Exactly. Because they do it. Kina Didi, Dre, all of them. They always go to each other's studios and kind of recreate from somewhere else. And I think people have just been a bit too selfish with their knowledge, a bit too selfish with their space. I like what Jimmy and Kunta do and what you're doing now. It's creating that, opening it up to other producers. And a lot of guys have come here and they've learned, Akina Tribe 53 and Akina Beast, they've come here and they've learned just from the skills that they share, and they impacted very easily.
And the thing about Tribe 53 is a shout out to Brad, the producer for Tribe 53. He met us and we just felt there was a good vibe between him. And trust me, I call him more than he calls me. And I say, have you checked this tutorial? Do you have this plug? Like, I'm on his back. Because one thing that we want, me and Kunta, is that we want these producers out there to grow. If there's something they're lacking in terms of knowledge, in terms of even things like plugins, things like software, we're like, you know what? We're gonna hook you up. What do you need? How do you need? What do you need so you can grow? And I feel that's important, because in Kenya, one of the biggest problems that we have right now is producers are stingy.
Yeah, that's something we usually talk about with Jimmy on our chats. Producers don't want to share the plugins, don't want to share the knowledge that they have when it comes to mixing music or producing music.
But your creativities are very different.
But there are certain aspects that they are the same when producing. So it's important to share for those who don't have that kind of information. So that's the kind of information we go back and forth with Jimmy sharing. We send each other tutorials. Have you checked out this plugin? Have you checked out this and that and that? We need more of that information to be shared between producers and even between artists.
And to be honest, one thing I just want to say, one point I just want to say, showing compassion really doesn't cost you much.
True.
Sharing the knowledge doesn't cost you anything.
That's true. All right, guys, we've seriously run over time. Thank you so much. Eric, for coming into studio. It's been an amazing conversation. So much to learn. I love the fact that you've opened up your doors. That is so much of that is needed right now. If we're complaining so much, we should not start with the complaining, doing the action. And I love the fact that you're now saying network, partner. Let's do this together. So you've heard him. He's Eric Wainaina across the board. Apart from Instagram, which is Eric Wainaina Music, just reach out. Reach out to us also here at Icon Records. But remember, Jimmy wants a press kit. Clean music, clean, please. Go to your radio edit and clean it. So yes, it's been another amazing show. That's what?
The last.
There are.
Yo,
really?
the last.
Yes.
The last kit in press, Eleni Smith. I mean, press. I'm trying to say press kit na Smith. I'm trying to rhyme.
If you find the DJs they actually have the programs for that. There are sites that offer that. Yes. So it's very possible to get a way for you to clean out your music. So please, when you're submitting the music, clean it out, because one man, what's his name, Chilo Bay, is not playing with people anymore when it comes to cleaning up the airwaves. So if you want to do that, get your music played, please clean up your music. Yes, so thank you guys so much for tuning into the Vault. For everybody who's tuned in, Zawadi, the liquor hustler, big shout out, to you. Big shout out, furu vibe. He's called we met him one time. He's called Zawadi, the liquor hustler. He's mad on concoctions. He got you covered. He got you covered. I'll do that. You'll definitely appreciate that. So yes, he's over there with all the fire.
I have to get personal, but
this hour. All right, yeah. So guys, we gotta go. We hate to love and leave. Remember, you can always stream us. Remember, you can always stream us on www.iconradio.co.ke. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all at Icon Radio. If you got any questions that you'd love to send over to any of our producers, because it's all producers apart from me and Jirongi in this room. It's all producers on 0788380030. If you're in Maju, +254 788380030. It's time to wind up. Thanks, guys. You can catch this show on our YouTube channel on Icon Radio KE. But before we go, we're dropping music.
New music. Remember, we had the Vault Cypher Challenge, and we had the 3 winners. We had Roy Z. Big Rex and J.R. Stewart. So today we are launching a new song by Big Rex. It's called Gigi. He came number 2 on the competition. We're dropping Gigi right now. Actually, it's dropped. It premiered at 12 p.m. at noon. Nice. So it's on. Go check out Gigi by Big Rex. Produced at Icon Records.
Right.
The Vault, man.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out
Roy
to Big Rex.
Z also is pushing.
Yeah, I'm releasing Roy Z's song next week on Thursday.
He was the winner of the Vault Cypher Challenge. So thank you guys so much. Big shout out. Also, in terms of events, we have to shout out to No Way Out. Later on in the day, we're going to be having the No Way Out rap battle finalists coming through to the studio.
OGG.
We also are going to be having the judges as well as
Kalamoto.